Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Comma Speaks. I am really excited. Actually, this is like a wonderful week, and I'm excited for my guest because she's going to be talking about more out of life, which is a perfect topic for my son who's graduating on tomorrow from high school. And I think that he needs to watch that because this is going to help him have a stepping stone in his career. But my name is Comma, again with Comma Speaks. Today my guest is Demetra Moore. Thank you so much for being on my show.
You're welcome, Comma. I'm excited to be here as well. I have been looking forward to this.
I have too, and I'm excited because today we're going to be talking about some of the things you do, such as personal branding, which is huge. Lots of people do not understand what personal branding is or even the importance of it. So we'll be talking about that today. But I want to read your bio just so people can get to know a little bit about you. Okay, Demetra Moore is a certified transition coach, author, and CEO of More Out of Life, Inc., a graduate of the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching. Moore is passionate about helping others excel in both their personal and professional lives. Moore has spread her messages about professional development and career focus for over 200,000 people as a featured speaker for the International Live for Your Best Life Conference, Charlotte's For Sisters Only Expo, and other events. The No More Excuses, You Want Success, Go Get It author is also a regular columnist, for, is that Who Am I? Who Am I? Okay, Who Am I? Magazine. She's a certified career transition coach and provides one-on-one coaching and teaches career development workshops throughout Charlotte and surrounding areas. Demetra has developed her successful coaching techniques over the years while teaching workshops at places like ITT Technical Institute, YMCA, and several other organizations throughout the Carolinas. Please forgive me as I'm stumbling through this. I have just been so parched and my mouth is just like, give me some water. But welcome to my show, Demetra. I am going to give you the floor just so you can expand a little bit more about who you are.
Thank you, Comma. I am excited, much like you are, for you to be sharing your audience with me. Just to share some more background on who I am. Most people who are, and I know you're on the West Coast, but for your audience who may be up north, people want to say, where is she from? I hear a little Southern accent. Yes, I'm from the Carolinas. I grew up in Florence, South Carolina. It's a little town. If you blink, you'll pass it. It's near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I grew up there and I've been in Charlotte for 13 years. And I just love helping people. I didn't really know that I was supposed to be a coach. I just knew that I loved helping and inspiring people and seeing that light bulb, come on. When people get that aha moment, I just love that. And through life's experiences, which I will share with your audience today, I learned that it was a passion and a calling on my life. And it was so many years that I didn't answer the call because I didn't really know that it was a calling. I just knew that I was supposed to be helping other people. So being on your show and just allowing me to share with your audience is a privilege, and I am humble. So thank you again for allowing me to be here today.
Oh, no problem at all. Again, I'm excited to have you on, and I love to be able to interview guests that are doing things in their life and stepping out of that box that people tend to stay into. So let me get to the first question. Let's start with More Out of Life. We know that your last name is Moore. How did that come about?
That's a good one. It came about simply because people deserve to have more. And at the time, I didn't realize, that I deserved to have that. Yes. When I went through different situations in my life, I thought I could settle just for standard or just for mediocrity or just to be like everybody else. I didn't realize that I too could have more, like the people that I watched on television or the people that I watched when I was in college. I always wondered why the business professors drove nice cars, you know, why they had the nice briefcases and the nice shoes. And not necessarily I wanted to have it for that reason, but I noticed that most of those people carry themselves with the sense of, you know, like prestige, and they felt like they carried themselves as if they deserved the opportunity that was given to them. And in my eyes, coming from the neighborhood that I came from, I couldn't really wrap my mind around why I wasn't taught that, or I didn't see anybody in my neighborhood have those things. And through those life experiences of finding myself and learning that I too could have nice things, that I too deserve to experience things and be able to have intelligent conversations with colleagues and not just talk about what's going on in TV, you know, on TV or, you know, in the newspapers. I too deserve to experience life and to, I mean, there's a whole world out there that I could experience, but I was confined to this little area, and it was only in my mind that I was. And if I learned through my life experiences that if I just open up my mind, anything is possible. And through that, of course, I was like, okay, I could have more. And I think one thing that opened up my eyes, my father, when I was, I want to say in middle school, they started a business and it was called Moore's Trucking. And I was like, wow, you know, and in my neighborhood, most people weren't doing that. So when my father did it and everybody knew our last names was Moore, it became like, oh, you know, Demetra Moore, you know?
Yeah.
So I felt like, wow, we deserve to have this. And throughout the years, my father still to this day still drives trucks, but when through him opening that business and planting that seed in my mind, and he kept saying this, you know, this is going to be a legacy. I want to pass this on to my family, you know, my kids. Through that, it led me to naming my business More Out of Life, simply because we all deserve it. And all we have to do is just open our minds and see that we could have those things.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's awesome. And it goes with you, of course, not only because it's your last name, but it's what we need. We want. Most people want more out of life, you know?
Right.
Let's talk about, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about personal branding. That's something in business that many of us, again, I mentioned earlier, we don't know how to do it. Earlier today, I was speaking with this group that I teach. It's an entrepreneur course that I teach. And I was talking about personal branding and how important it is. But I don't know the depths of it. And a lot of people that are in business, it's new. And I'm not going to say it's not so much new, but it just seems like more people are trying to get to understand it and trying to really brand themselves. How did you get into personal branding? And why don't you give us some information about, you know, how to go about doing that?
Oh, most definitely. I got into it when I first started More Out of Life some years ago. I had to figure out how to distinguish my business from other people's business. And you know, everybody knows a coach, right? Everybody knows a coach. What made Demetra so different from those other coaches? What made More Out of Life different from the other coaching businesses or, you know, consultants that people encountered? And that was a stumbling block for me. And for years, I couldn't get past it. And I started to create business cards, read self-help books, just like everybody else, right? Everybody wants to read a self-help book. Everybody wants to be like the people in the book. And I too was one of those people. And in doing that, I started noticing trends, if you will, that everybody was doing the same thing. So I'm thinking to myself, what is my brand if I'm doing everything that these other people are doing?
Wow.
How can I take this information and apply it to my life? How can I take this and apply it to my situation? Not, you know, I mean, I remember reading Selling the Invisible. I'm like, I'm selling a service. I got to learn, you know, the techniques from this book. Well, that book was written years ago. And the same situations are not occurring in the 20th century.
Right.
So I sat down and just, started taking notes and started learning how to apply the information to my specific situation, and not just doing just because the book said do. Actually sit down, saying, is this suitable for my business and my life? And in doing that, it led me to having more discussions with my clients about personal branding, because I was walking the walk the same as they were, trying to figure it out. And then I started to look at social media and what was showing up on television and what was in the news. And then I noticed Jay-Z had a brand, Kim Kardashian has one. All of the celebrities have a brand, whether we approve of them in our eyesight or not. They still have a brand and people actually follow it.
Yes, they do.
I mean, I'm sorry, say that again, Kama?
I said, no, I was just saying, yes, they do.
Right. And it was weird to me because I'm like, these people, some of these celebrities haven't done anything. They're just celebrities by default. So how can their brand be so concrete? And I'm sitting here actually inspiring and enhancing the lives of other people. What's wrong with my brand? And then I came up with 3 questions that I had to ask myself. What is the brand? And of course, I'm going to share them with the audience today. What does brand mean? And according to the dictionary, it says branding is often defined as a name, term, design, or symbol, or any other feature that identifies one seller's product distinct from those other sellers, which goes back to what I just said. What made my business different? And I mean, of course, after I read the definition, I was even more clueless. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Right. So then I started saying, okay, let me figure out how I can separate myself. What is unique to me? And how can I promote that? And for your audience who's listening, if you don't have your notes and pens out, please write this information down. And you can actually utilize it to start building your brand. But there's something you have to understand initially. Before you build a professional brand, you have to know who you are as a person.
Yes.
And that's where the self-help books came in, because everybody wanted to read them. Everybody wanted to be like the person they read about. Well, hello, you're not them. Right. Your life situations are not the same. You have different talents that you have to offer, and you have to not just copy that information. You have to learn how to dissect it and apply it to your life. And that's where I can speak for myself. That's where I fell short. I was just doing exactly what the book Selling the Invisible said, and the other marketing books that I read. I was doing exactly what that person did, but that situation is not my life. Their finances aren't my finances. It was just so many differences, and most people, including myself, didn't know how to specifically apply the information. We actually just followed the information as it was given, and not really dissecting it and applying it to our situation. So that's the first thing, is learning your personal brand. And my definition of personal branding may be different from other coaches or speakers that you've heard, but my definition is personal branding is how we market ourselves to others, from the clothing we wear, how we behave and interact, and our body language. It's our reputation, the size and the strength of our network, and all of the unique values that we can contribute to our workplace or clients.
So let me ask you real quick, on your thoughts of personal branding, based on your definition, would you say that personal branding is part of your everyday walking?
Almost definitely.
Okay. I want to make that clear, because some people know how to, what they call code switch. So they're one way here and they're different there. And sometimes everybody's not, they won't work with you if you're not that working type person. You don't have to be stiff, but if your brand represents life and inspiration, and like for me, I'm very inspirational and motivational, but in my personal life, if I'm always crying, woe is me, and I'm never going to make it, that's defeating my purpose of my personal brand. So I just want to make sure that it's business as well as it should be your walk in life.
Exactly. And just to add something to what you said, think about people that you have, and I'm just thinking of like a financial representative that you may have met in your bank, right? You're just in the bank doing your daily transactions.
Yes.
And the person says, hey, you want to open a variable annuity or whatever it is. And you're like, sure, you go in there, you get the information. You don't necessarily do anything. You just say, thank you. I'm going to go look at it and I'm going home. You get home, you look that person up online and you see that they've committed fraud or, maybe they have some, bankruptcies or whatever it may be. You will be like, well, how can you advise me when your stuff is messed up? Right. I mean, and if it's not finance, it could be a mechanic, his car's always broke and he's trying to work on your car. You will be like,
yeah, that's like beauticians. Sometimes with beauticians, you'll see some, they go around, the hair's not ever done. They look at a hot mess and then they want to tell you that they can do hair. And it's like, well, what you doing with your hair? You might be the greatest hairstylist, but if you can't take care of yourself, why would I want you to take care of me? It just doesn't make sense.
Right. It's the same thing. And I tell people how you show up for anything is how you show up for everything. Yes. So even if you're not at work, the core characteristics of who you are should remain the same.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're, out speaking. If you're doing comma speaks right now, when you get off and you talk with your kids later, you should still have the same characteristics. Now, you may not be dressed the same. You may be be in mom role, but your characteristics of who you are the same. And I think people have to clearly define those in order to build any type of brand, because if you're not consistent with who you are, like you said, this light switch going on and off, you this person this time, this person next time, people are not going to want to work with you. Right.
Very true. They're
not. And I want to give your audience the questions that they really need to start thinking about. There's 3 questions. Well, no, I'm sorry. There's 3 things that they have to have in order to create their personal brand. They have to be consistent, reliable, and authentic. They have to be. Because if you're not being true to who you are, how can you give off a brand and expect people to buy into it? They're not, because you're not true to who you are and the things that you have to offer.
Right. Exactly.
And I mean, think about it from like things that you put your confidence in when you go to the grocery store. It may be a certain, you may like Sprite and they keep bringing Sprite. Sprite's going to be in the grocery store. You can find it. But then what if I brought in a new soda and I had it in there 2 weeks and I quit? You're going to be like, what is that? Right.
Right. And this it's happened to me. I just had a situation. I'm like big on carrot cake. So I buy this carrot cake from our local grocery store, which is called Stater Brothers. I go in there for my slice of carrot cake. This time I go in there, they have a carrot cake muffin. And I'm like, this is not what I came here for. And I was so disappointed. And I said, is this going to be the regular? Because I come in here for carrot cake. They were like, no, I don't know why they're trying something else. And we're going to get back to the carrot cake. And I haven't seen it since. So obviously I'm saying something to help because that's what I'm used to. Don't switch up on me now. I want my carrot cake slice. I don't want a stupid muffin.
And I think that is important in everything you do. You have to be consistent because like you said, you went to that store and you were looking for that particular carrot cake. Don't give me a muffin. That's not what I'm looking for. Your brand that I have experienced and I have learned to tell people about has been based on that carrot cake. Don't try to trick me into liking something else. And I think people need to think about things like that. I mean, when you go to McDonald's, I know this is a guilty pleasure for me. I love McDonald's fries. All the salt, all the grease, I love them. Don't try to switch them and give me something else. I don't want those. I want McDonald's fries. Exactly. And that is something with that we all do in regards to branding. We just don't think about it, you know. And I mean, again, it's reliable. You know, when you go to McDonald's, you're going to get the grease and the salt and all the bad stuff that you don't need, but that's because you like it and you want to go get it. Now, what if they came in and said, you know what? We're going to switch them and we're going to do sweet potato fries. Right.
Can't handle that. Goodbye, McDonald's.
It's the same thing. You have to be able to be consistent, reliable, and authentic to who you are. And people lose that trying to conform to what other people want them to do or what other people think they should be doing. And you have to have the courage to do what's right for you. And I got to share one of my favorite quotes by James Womack. It says, the opposite of courage isn't cowardice, it's conformity. Even a dead fish can go with the flow. And every time I think about that, I think about personal branding and everything that we need to do in order to have the courage to live out our own lives and do exactly what we're called to do. Because I can't be comma. I can't do comma speaks. That's not my gift. That is yours. I mean, we all can do webinars and we have our own way of doing them, but I can't be comma can't be Demetra. You have to operate in your own talents and gifts. And in doing that, you find your personal brand. And again, it took me some years to find what was my calling, what was my specialty. And then, allowing those experiences that I went through, not to consider them as failures, but to look at them as opportunities to learn, I figured out how to market myself and how to be unique amongst other speakers and coaches and, other people who are working in the same industry that I'm in. And it's important, I can't say it enough, that people really have the courage to be reliable, to be consistent, and to be authentic to who they are when they're trying to establish a personal brand for themselves, which is number one, which leads into their professional brand for their businesses or even in their careers.
Yes. Wow. You know what? And if more people understand the consistency part, I posted something on Facebook a couple of days ago, and I was telling them, I said, I've been consistent with my marketing. Now my business for real estate, people are calling me now. People are wanting to set appointments with me now. I've been consistent. Now I had a little dry spell for a minute because I didn't even know how to market. All my business have been referrals. It's always been referrals. So now that I'm trying to market, I'm like, this thing is hard. You don't expect to allow something to happen right away. So the other day, I had someone last night actually on Facebook in this group I'm in. This guy says, "Oh, I sent out 400 mailers and I only had 2 response." And it was his first mailer. And I said, you know what? You have to be consistent. It takes about 5 or 6 times for somebody to actually pick up the phone and call you. So you don't give up just because you didn't get a ton of response for the first time. But consistency is important. And then another one you said was being authentic. You said reliable and authentic. What people have to understand is that, just like you said, everybody can't do comma speaks. They can do what they do. But the way I do my show is what God has purposed in my life for me to do it. I've had several people after the show say, "Oh yeah, I'm about to start doing a show." It's been 2 years almost, coming up in June 11th, 2 years. And not one of those people have started a show. Why? Because it's not their purpose. I'm being different in what I do in my business, real estate. There's no other real estate agent that I know of too much that's doing something similar to this, but be authentic. So I really like that. I wanted to, I know we're getting short on time. Now, you said there were 3. You talked about first knowing who you are. What's the second one that we can get into? Because I know we're running short, but I still want to hear the last 2.
Oh, no problem. Know who you are, and you have to know what's unique about you. We love to copy everything else. That's why people said, I want to be like comma. I'm going to start a show. Well, you're not comma.
Right.
So you have to know what you have to offer as a person and how to promote that. And I just want to give you an example based on what you just mentioned to me, was that a lot of real estate agents aren't doing what you're doing. So this is something that is unique to you and your audience. So you may be, right now, we're on this show talking about personal branding. People know that you are a real estate professional. Somebody could be watching right now saying, you know what? I never caught the fact that she was a real estate professional. My friend, or maybe I'm looking for a place, I can actually contact this person and get help, or she can share some insight. You have to find a way that marketing works for you. Yes. Everybody can't do a Google Hangout. Right. Everybody may not have the ability to do the mailings. Some people are more social people, where they go out and they meet people and they get referrals like you were getting. You weren't even out there. But you know what, just to congratulate you on that, you have created a stable enough brand to have other people be walking and talking advertisements for you. So that speaks volumes for your brand and what you're doing in your community, that people can say, you know what, you should check out She's, she can help you with your real estate needs. That speaks a lot. So I commend you for all the work that you've done in establishing your personal and professional brand in regards to your show and real estate.
I appreciate that. I really do. Okay, before I let you go, is there anything else you want to share?
Yes, I want to tell people how to connect with me. You can go to my website. It's Moore, Moore, outoflife.com. And if you have questions for me, matter of fact, you know what? Forget that. Just reach out to me. For anyone that reaches out to me tonight, the first 5, I'll say the first 5, no, I'll say 10. I'm feeling generous, and you and I have had a great show. So the first 10 people that reach out to me tonight, I'm going to set up free coaching sessions. And I say 10 because I can't do everybody now. So you would text you would text the word Moore, More, and your name. So if your name is Jane, I need to see Moore space Jane Brown, or whatever your name is, so I can know who I'm calling back. And you text Moore, More, and your name to 980-201-2458, and I will definitely schedule a complimentary session with you to see how I can help you. And if I can't help you, I would definitely refer you to someone who can. But it's the first 10 people. And lastly, I want to say the universe rewards those who take action. So text now.
Yes. That was excellent. You must take action.
Yes.
Stop talking about it. Be about it. Actions speak louder than words. I'm going to leave you with this story. Today, I was at the DMV with my son and his friend, and as we were sitting there, we were talking to the lady that was at the booth, and the friend that came to me. I'm sorry, there's a little feedback, just FYI.
Okay, why you tell me that?
Okay, the friend that was there, he's a photographer. He's 19 years old. He was with us as I was doing my entrepreneur class. I had even brought my son to school to the school that I went to. And while we were there, he was like, "Oh, I want to say something to her." And I said, "Just do it. You never know." He's like, "Oh, I'm a little nervous." And I said, "You know what? You just do it." I told him, actions speak louder than words. Don't just say, "I want to do it." Now you need to take the action. As he's talking to her, he says, I forgot how he worded it, but he was just saying, "Oh, if you need any pictures, I take pictures. I do photography." She said, "Well, you know what? I don't want photography, but I have 14 grandchildren. And in July, I'm actually trying to get them all together so that I can do one big picture or one big photo." And they exchanged information. He gave her all of his information. And as we walked away, I told him, closed mouths don't get fed. You say what you want, you go after what you want. Nobody can know what you want if you don't speak it. So just like with this, for those that are watching, don't say, "I'm going to text tomorrow, the next day, because you can lose that spot. You don't know who's ahead of you. Make sure you follow through and do what you need to do. Tomorrow's not promised. The next moment's not promised. But this can be your appointed time to contact Demetra so you can get that coaching session. It's time for you to take your life on and understand that it's about you. She's going to always have her business. The question is, what are you going to do about yours? So make sure you text her. The information will be up here. You can check it out, but make sure you text her. And guess what? If you're number 11, then you're SOL. So make sure you take action. Again, thank you, Demetra, so much for being on my show. I'm so glad we were able to connect. Personal branding is important, very important.
Right.
And if you're not working on your personal brand, you need to start now. Definitely start now. Oh, you are so welcome. You are welcome. And also, just FYI, to get in contact with me, you can always find me on Facebook. I'm under Kama Speaks. That's Kama Speaks. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest, which I'm trying to understand Pinterest, but I'll get it one of these days. But I am on all those different social media. So if you're on any of them, make sure you follow me. If you want to be on my show, or you have someone you think that would be great for the show, they can email me at Kama, Kama, at kamaspeaks.com. That's Kama, Kama, at kamaspeaks.com. Or you can send me a message via one of those social medias you're on. And also, I have my nonprofit called Loving Me First. I'm working on the website. I should have a little bit of it because I'm doing it myself, trying to figure this whole thing out. I should have it up hopefully by this weekend, but it's lovingmefirst.org, and that's to help fight against domestic violence and bring awareness. And I'll be working on some great, great things. And thank God for Kama Speaks, because it's preparing me for what I have to do under Loving Me First. Other than that, again, Demetra, you have been a great and wonderful guest. I thank you, and I pray many blessings to you in your future. And to your coach, Mr. Ruben West, he is phenomenal.
Yes,
absolutely phenomenal. He is producing some great, great speakers under his black belt speakers, and they are going to conquer this world with their speaking, with their businesses, because there is such an array of different businesses that are under that umbrella. But my hat's off to you, Mr. Ruben West. Thank you so much for another wonderful black belt speaker. And I'm not saying that just to be talking, but another great black belt speaker, again, for the third time. Thank you, Demetra, for being on the show. And for those that are watching, I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't say anything. I was just saying thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And for those that are watching, remember, no matter what you do in life, always pursue your passion.